Welcome back to another episode of What Are You Made Of with your boy, the unstoppable, the inexorable Mike C-Roc. I'm in the house today with a friend of mine I met at an event I spoke at for Richie Dolan down in Miami a few months ago. And we have some mutual friends. So I wanted to bring her on because she's up to some big things. And listen, there's a underserved community flat out, whether it's race, whether it's socio-economical, but it's also what sex you are. And she's doing something about that on the female side of things. So I wanted to bring her on to share her story and find out what she's made of, but also share what she's doing. And that is Noelle Corriveau.
Corriveau. Yeah.
Corriveau. Yep. I got
Almost.
it right. Good. Damn. Oh, almost. Okay. Well, my last name's more difficult than that too, I think. So I have people always butcher in mine and all that. That's why they call me C-Roc. So anyway, Noelle is CEO and founder of the Female Powerhouse Project, a women's social and leadership development network. They give women the tools, resources, and networks to empower them to step into their greatness, create a life without limits. I almost said we give women because that's what it says here. It was like, well, we give. I'm part of it, man. I'm going to help you elevate this thing. So what's up, Noelle?
You're in. What's up, Mike?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I appreciate the opportunity, and I'm excited to share some space today and talk about the amazing things that I'm doing for women. And you kind of hit the nail on the head. There's a gap, and I want to close the gap. And getting on, collabing with amazing people like yourself who have similar visions and missions and values, and helping people become unstoppable and step into greatness. That's what I want to do. And that's who I want to speak to. So I'm hoping that what I share today is really going to add a lot of value to your audience, and also inspire some women to step into some leadership roles out there, because I feel like there is such a lack right now of female leadership. Would you agree?
I ain't answering that question and get myself in trouble. Shit. I'll let you speak for that. I'm willing to help and elevate and do whatever I can, and agree that there's some underserved, but I ain't saying women aren't stepping up being leaders. Good question though. Good try. So anyway, but look, we start the show. I want to stick with a tradition here before we get too deep into this. I got to ask the question, Noelle, what are you made of?
It's a great question. I'm made of heart. I'm made of, commitment. I'm made of resiliency. And I think for me, everything I've been through and the transition I've had in the last couple of years, coming from building someone else's dream to now stepping into building my own, there's a lot of things I've learned in that time. And it's showed me and it's revealed to myself what I am and what I'm made of, and that I can weather any storm. And I have this sense of mental toughness that I wasn't aware of before I got into entrepreneurship and becoming a business owner. So that's kind of how I would describe myself. I really wear my heart on the sleeve. And I'm somebody who I'm just so determined. I'm so determined, and I just make things happen. So I'd consider myself like a generator type human design quality that I bring to the table. I just make things happen. I put them into motion. So that's a little bit.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You should I love the confidence and the fact that you know what the deal is and what your strengths are. So now let's go back though, because I want to know why you said those things that you said in the beginning part of it, what you're made of. Take me back. Like, where'd you grow up? How'd you grow up? Tell us some stories, man.
Yeah. So I grew up in a really small town called Plainville, Connecticut. And, the community that was there is something I realized from early on, which kind of brought me to be here today, is there's a lot of people that were settling and living in a very traditional sort of way and had very traditional mindsets. And I just remember growing up, a lot of people they didn't seem happy. And I just knew I needed to get out of there. And I knew I needed to go humble myself and experience life and experience different things. So I moved to Florida about 8 years ago. And my background,
hold on. Let me stop you. Yeah, let me stop you for a second. So a lot of people hear this, like, you got to get out of your town, right? But then everybody goes to different towns, and then they go to that town, but that town is the same way for the people that grew up in that town. Right. So what makes that different? And then I'll get you back on that time track there.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think it's putting yourself in a new environment. It may be the same to the people that are there, But when you remove yourself from your environment and you experience someone else's environment, it cultivates awareness of what else is out there. And I think it helps you really gain a lot of perspective, you know?
Yep. I love that. So how old were you when you left?
I was 22. I was 22 years old. Yeah.
And did you go like, was it for a job, or how did you like make money when you left?
Well, I actually didn't have a job lined up. I took a really big risk. I knew one person. I said, if I know one person, that's all I need. I can figure it out from there. And I don't know how I knew that and how I knew it was going to work out. I guess that's God, right? And I just felt intuitively guided. So when I first got here, I was working in hospitality. I was hustling. I was, flipping tables and serving cocktails, and I was getting my name out there and networking with the people I was serving. So that's kind of how I started. And then from there, I transitioned into medical sales. So my background is actually in health sciences, and I went to Quinnipiac University in Connecticut. I have an undergrad in radiology. So I was practicing in healthcare for about a decade up until last July. So last July, I made a decision to actually walk away from healthcare. And I think a lot of that had to do with what's going on in the world right now. And I kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I felt called to something bigger. And I was in situations a lot of times leading up to last year where I felt very powerless. I felt undervalued. I felt kind of lost, not really, I didn't really have a lot of sense of purpose. And because of that, I just really I felt anxious, and I felt, I just didn't really know where I belonged. So that's kind of what led me to be here today. And, what I created here really became a napkin design, a napkin idea. It was a napkin idea shortly after I left my medical sales career last July. And I just took it and I ran with it. I didn't know how, I didn't know who, I didn't know when, but I just knew that I was being pulled to this. And fast forward to a year later, I am selling out a charity yacht event that I'm hosting this Saturday here in Tampa Bay. And I've got people from all over the world. I've got people from Canada. I've got people from Miami. I've got people in Tampa Bay coming, people from Orlando. Mm-hmm. And I'm creating a stage, and I have people that I'm putting on my stage. Just like I've had in the past, people put me on theirs. And it's what allowed me to kind of build that confidence and get my, get my story out there. And now I want to in turn do that for others as well. So yeah,
I love it, man. That's awesome.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I lived in Hartford, Connecticut, outside of Hartford for 6 months. My wife and I moved up one winter. I opened up a business up there because it was a territory that was open for that business. And it was like the worst winter ever, like there, I guess, or it felt like it to us because we're from a more southern state, beach town. And it snowed every other day, 6 inches. And I'm like, dude, screw this, man. Like, I'm not dealing with this. So we left. I think it was like August to February, and we were like, we're out of here. So we went back home. But we learned a lot on that journey, and we did the uncomfortable thing. Right. And we did all that. But Connecticut's cool though. It's pretty. And there's some cool places like Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods to go to and hang out and do different things. But yeah, that was just not, that cold weather shit is not me. So obviously not you either, because you live in Florida now. So how did you pick Tampa Bay area?
Honestly, it was kind of what I said a little earlier. Is I knew someone here, a girl that she grew up in Plainville, Connecticut. She had come down here and made a name for herself and created a huge network. And I was living vicariously through her social platforms. And I'm like, I want what she has. Like, I'm attracted to this, and I want to be around that energy. I want to be around that type of lifestyle. And so I just made a decision. I said, I'm going. I don't have a job lined up. I just took that leap of faith, and it
And
was
was
really
it,
because of her.
and was it like that when you got down there, like everything that you were living vicariously through her? Do you still feel that feeling or experience that now that you're there, like in reality? Or is it a little different?
So it's interesting. I lived in Tampa when I first moved to Florida 8 years ago. I lived here. And what I thought it was going to be and what it actually was were two very different things. My initial experience here was very hard, very lonely, lots of tears, lots of unknowns, a lot of uncertainty, and toxicity. There's a lot of toxicity. And what's ironic is what got me out of there was, landing my quote unquote dream job with a multi-billion-dollar medical device company. And I ended up making my way back here in June of this year. So I was 22 when I moved to Tampa. I just turned 30 in May. And I'm back in Tampa almost 8 years, about 8 years later.
Wait a minute. So where did you go? Where did you go from Tampa when you moved from Connecticut to Tampa? Where did you go to between?
So I moved to West Palm Beach. I was there for a couple of years.
On the East Coast. Okay.
Yeah. And then Orlando. I moved to Orlando after that. I worked in neuro and spine sales with a distributorship there. And that's where I met my fiance. And we just moved here back to Tampa in June.
Yeah. By the way, congratulations, because there is a ring on your finger, and that happened recently, didn't it?
It did. It happened in August. We were at the Biltmore, and he surprised me. And my parents actually flew in from Connecticut, so I did the whole ugly cry on camera. Feeling really homesick. So the fact that he brought them there to experience that meant so much to me. So it was a really, really special day.
That's awesome. Yeah. And what does he do?
Yeah. Marcus is an attorney. He does property litigation and also personal injury.
Awesome, man. I'm so happy for you, and congratulations from the What You Made Up team and everything. So we were wishing you the best. And by the way, I was just talking to my wife recently too, Jennifer, that I wanted to do something. I'm having this thing in my head where I get these ideas, right? But I got a lot going on, but I still have this thing that I want to encourage couples to flourish. Like I see so many people with problems, right? Some are leaving each other. Some are having problems, like they just quit on it, or they quit on it, but they stay in it. And I'm just not okay with that. So I'm thinking about doing something, and I don't know what it is yet, but like it does definitely revolve around couples retreat and like really taking it seriously about flourishing relationships, but having fun. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
it's just not okay for me to the ho hum that relationships become for some people. And it is easy for that to happen with you have your jobs and you have your targets and your goals and everything. And I think that just like individuals like us, when we go hang around people that are like-minded, we need to get couples together that are thinking like-minded, that want to flourish as couples and that want to be loyal to each other and take care of each other and lift each other up, support each other's goals and all that. And are willing to invest in that. Like we invest in self-improvement, self-help individually a lot, but often people don't invest in couples self-help or self-development until it's too late, right? Then they go to therapy or whatever. So my wife and I are 18 and a half years now. And so we know, I would consider ourselves experts. So I want to be that role model, and I want us to be that role model and example for people like yourselves. As you're getting ready to get into this new stage of your life, it's important to understand some of the things that you could like maybe save time on or save stress on or you're going to have to go through some things, right? But at the end of the day, like why it's just like business, like if having a mentor in a way. So anyway, that's something that's been on my mind for a while, and definitely would, if you guys are interested, like we're going to put something together and we're going to be looking for great couples to join. So
we'd love to, love to, we pride ourselves. It's funny you bring this up because I have mentors that told me that the quality of your relationship will trickle into your business. So if you don't have your significant other as a rock with you and they're not fully in support of what you're doing, it can create a lot of issues in the relationship. So our biggest thing that we've done that has brought us so close and, just always on the same page is communication. Once a month, we sit down and we actually audit each other and audit our relationship. And we talk about, where can we improve as a couple, right? What are some things we noticed that we both did better than the month before? We talk about our goals. Like, we set targets together as a unit, as a team. And I love that you're doing this because I think it's so important. And I don't feel like there's enough support in this space. So I'm really happy to hear that you guys are doing that. And we'd love to be a part of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And man, I've just, it's been on my mind a lot because I've witnessed and seen some other, things, whether it's in my other company with people there or whatever. So it's just something that's sticking out. So all right, cool. So the next thing I wanted to ask you, when you went to what was I going to ask you the thing about Florida? Oh, so how did you, when you're in device sales and all that, decide to just cut the cord and leave there? Like, take us through the thought process and the journey from that.
Yeah, it was really in the last 6 months I started realizing I kept running into walls. I kept butting heads with the people I was working with. And the reason why is because about 2 years ago, I started working for a direct sales company called Mon8. And through that business, I started learning about concepts like personal development, growth mindset, right? I really started to tap into those principles of becoming an entrepreneur and what it takes, from a mental perspective to step into that role and to be able to sustain that kind of lifestyle and create that. So I started learning a lot about myself. I went into this very, very intense self-discovery journey, right? And at the same time, I'm still working in the career that I thought was going to be kind of my be all end all. But as I started growing, what I realized, I was also outgrowing my environment once again, right? And the people I was around were stagnant, and I became so self-aware of it. And they saw what I was doing, and they actually put me down for it. They actually, they called me, they said I had a millennial mentality and tried saying I was entitled and all these things. And in reality, I was just really empowered. And I woke up to the fact that I was settling in my life. I was playing small, and I didn't want to be that way anymore, because I knew I had greatness inside of me. And it just took me being exposed to a group and a community of people that were actually living and walking those steps to become great, to show me and empower me to say, hey, you can do this too. And so, I started getting annoyed with my job. I started, noticing things about people that just really set me off. I started realizing that they were kind of pushing me off to the side and, just not really following through on their commitments to me anymore. And so I stopped performing my job to my fullest ability because I lost the passion for it, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And so I actually got COVID in last July, and I was out for 2 weeks. And when I came back, things were just like, there just seemed to be this like elephant in the room. So I sat down and we had this meeting, and we just talked about how they felt like I was going in a different direction. And I said, you're right, I am. And I don't think this is the place for me anymore. And it was a very amicable meeting. And I have nothing but great things to say about those people. And I feel like every part of our journey is so necessary. There's lessons. So I'm not mad. I'm not resentful. I'm not angry. I learned so much there. And it was what I needed in the time I needed it when I started working with this group. They were a group of people that for the first time treated me how I felt like I should be treated. Right. And the dynamic went from working from this $1 billion corporate company chasing money to working for this tiny distributorship as an independent, contractor, and doing it for the relationships, for the people. So that shift started to happen within me, that I became more people focused than money and self-centered and about me, I, right? So I started to step into that service, right? And kind of like where I came to be in July last year, I left, and I was so nervous and upset because I am a very loyal person. So I felt like I was letting them down in a sense, right? But when I left, I remember leaving and I felt this huge weight came off of me and I just was like bawling. And so crazy how much we are programmed as human beings from experiences, from a behavioral and an emotional standpoint. Because I remember that whole week after, every day I would wake up in a panic. I missed the surgery, thinking, I had to be somewhere. I had to recondition myself
Wow.
and reprogram myself to be okay with this new way of living. I learned so much, I learned so much about myself. And yeah, it's crazy because if you asked me this 3 years ago, I would laugh at you and be like, there's no way, I'm hosting this yacht event in a week and I've got this huge organization that's serving women on a global level and that, has all these big, crazy dreams. And I have nothing but time freedom and flexibility. And like, I'm doing it. I'm really doing all the things. And I realized I wasn't giving myself enough credit, and I haven't in the last year, but I'm like really proud of myself. And I guess like what I'm trying to say is, I felt like at that time I left, I had to be brave so I could show people what's possible and encourage them to be brave too.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love elevating people, man. That's the best. Like I like elevating people and seeing them do better than I like myself doing it. It's just a weird thing, man. I think you feel that same way. So based on what you're saying there. So on that note, if you like recognize yourself from last year and you're in the same spot, you didn't grow. That's like dying. So all flat graphs fall, and that could be, you could graph any part of your life, health, finances, whatever, happiness, relationships. And if your graph is flat, it's going to fall because there's things in life that happen. So you're dying. And so a sign of living and flourishing and prospering is an upward trending graph. And if you can see that from year to year to month, it's best to look at it from year to year. And I see some people around me that aren't any different than they were last year. Matter of fact, some of them are worse off. And it's because they're not being intentional with that. And so I commend you for that. You should be proud of yourself. I'm happy for you. And, one thing my son told me this morning, he's 15. He told me this story about these gorillas that they put in a cage. They did an experiment and they put these bananas up really high and they had a ladder, and the gorilla, one of them would set the ladder up and climb up, try to get the bananas. And when they did that, the person who was doing the experiment would spray all the other gorillas with ice cold water. And then they would get pissed at the one that ran up and tried to grab the banana. So they would go up there and beat his ass. And then it would happen again and again. And they kept spraying these gorillas and they would beat the one that went up for the banana's ass till eventually they stopped doing it. But then they brought another gorilla in and they took one out. And that gorilla went up for the bananas. And they didn't need to spray the water anymore. The group beat his ass for going to get the bananas. And then he's like, well, shit, bananas must be bad, or the ladder must be bad. And then they did it one at a time. And then they took two of them out. And before you know it, there was no gorillas anymore that had ever been sprayed before. But they would not go up and get the bananas because every time they would get their ass kicked. And they had no idea why they couldn't go after the bananas or the ladder was bad. And that's what happens to all of us. Like you're just talking about, like, why did you feel that way after you quit when that weight was lifted off? It's because you were conditioned by other people that were conditioned and nobody even knows why at the end of the day. It's a great experiment. And the other one, I know my coach taught me this one. They also did an experiment with gorillas where one gorilla, there was a hole. He put his hand in the box and there was a banana in there and he would try to pull the banana out and he wouldn't be able to get it out and he wouldn't let go of the banana. So he ended up dying because he would not let go of the banana and he couldn't get his hand out of the box. So you gotta let go of the banana sometimes. That's what the lesson is in that one. So anyway, my son told me the story about the other. I thought, I was like, damn, I try to get through to this kid all the time. He's hard-headed like me. And here he's trying to teach me a lesson, which I thought was awesome. So
Noelle, awesome.
What are you excited about right now currently? And like, what's got you lit up here for the future? I know you got this boat coming up, the charity boat event, but like what in the future, what targets are you guys shooting for right now that's got you really lit up?
I'm really lit up by events right now. I'm really lit up by events. And I think bringing people together is something that has been challenging for us in the last, obviously, year and a half. We haven't been able to really get together. And when I do these events, there's something that happens there that you just don't get in a virtual setting. You don't get being on the phone or on a Zoom call. It's just not the same, because that energy transfer, it's hard to have when you've got all this distance between you. But I feel like it's that energy. It's that, the hair on the ends of your arms are standing up. It's the excitement. It gives people hope. So for me, like I'm planning in the next year and collaborating with a lot of other women-based businesses to create these very unique events. I want to give people an experience. I want to give them opportunities they haven't gotten yet. I want to get more involved from a charitable standpoint. I want to give back more. And eventually next year, I do have an intention to launch my own podcast. So I am super excited. Yeah.
Why are you waiting until next year though? Why would you even wait? Like, there's no reason to wait. You can't, no matter what you say, like, it's not going to be a legit reason to not do it like now. Like, you should be able to like tomorrow, get your laptop and just start recording a monologue style, like 10-minute podcast and put it in a Dropbox and just keep it. You don't even have to release it right away, but just do it. Like, you got to do something that goes towards that, like today, besides just saying it.
No, you're right. And thank you for calling me out. I don't have a valid reason for not doing it now. I know, I guess I need to do it sooner. And I've just felt really called to it. And I love speaking in front of people. I've been on a few stages. I think my biggest audience to date's been 450 people in a live audience. And it lights me up. But to know that you impact people with your words, with the perspectives you have, the knowledge you've gained, it's like, there is no better feeling to me. And that's what really lights my soul on fire. So I want to continue to create my own stages, put people on them, but also get on more stages. And
all right. So hold on. So we're not changing the topic here. What's the title of your podcast?
It's going to be called the Female Powerhouse Project.
Okay. Well, let's go. Write that down. Make sure you know that. So we got the title. I got steps, by the way. I have a blueprint of how to start a podcast. And if you just follow the steps, you can like become omnipresent. But we can talk about that later. But you got to do this.
I would love to.
Because let me tell you something. When you do a podcast, it changes everything for you. I never knew this. When I started first doing episodes, I was going on someone else's. And I was a guest on a bunch of them. I just went nuts. And one guy told me, his name is Mario Fascini. He said, you are about to start a journey that you have no idea what's going to change in your life. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, but let me tell you something. That's really started everything that I'm doing now. You have no idea, like what you're on to right now is great, but you have no idea what podcasting will open up for you. And I'm not even talking about downloads and becoming a top 10 podcast. It's nothing to do with that. It has to do with so many other things that I'm not going to get into right now, but because you got to experience some of them. But it's definitely something that you need to do right away, no matter what. And I'm going to make sure that I keep bugging you about that. And then the other thing is in the future though, like really big thing, like have you thought about something really massive that like, you're not even sure that you can do or how to do it?
Yeah. I have the intention of, how guys have like these gentlemen clubs they go to, right? No?
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. No.
Like, it's like a good old boys club, right?
Good old boys club. Okay. Got it.
Does that make?
I understand now. Yeah. I thought you were talking about something else.
Oh, no. We're not talking about strip joints here.
You said gentleman's club. I'm like, I don't know what that is. So anyway.
That was, I think, the wrong use of words. But what I meant is like a good old boys club,
yeah,
right? Like,
like a golf club. Like a golf club even. Like when the fellas go to
Sure. But I want to create something for women. I want to create these powerhouses. And I want to create them on a global level. No idea how I'm going to do this. But I want these to be very intentional powerhouses. I want them to be this space where we give women those tools, those resources, right? The network the connections to allow them to, elevate in their life in a lot of different areas, and to have conversations that you need to be in rooms to have, right? Conversations that are high level conversations. We're shaking, we're moving, we're co-creating. I want to co-create with other people. And I want to be sitting in a room to have these productive conversations on what's the next big thing we can do to serve and change more lives and have an impact. And like, that's kind of where I see things going. And I eventually want to be filling stages of thousands of women in a room and having a mix of women that are on the come up and just starting out, and women who are the most powerful leaders in the world in one room, for women by women. I've been to, I've been to, like a growth conference, they've got, a lot of the big leaders and the big motivational speakers, a lot of them, what I've noticed, are males. And I want to see more females stepping into that space. And I want to be that person. And again, it's scary for me because I have no idea how I'm going to get there, but I trust, and I say, if God gives you a vision, it's meant for you, and you don't need to know how. So I really trust that I have this inside of me because I'm supposed to step into that, because I was meant to do that thing. And that's what keeps me going and what I'm doing right now.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Well, look, hey, so you don't need to know how. Okay. But I will tell you that with Blueprinted, which is the new product that we're just launching, we are going to be starting to tell people how to do things. Now they're going to know, and it's not going to be that thing where you don't have to know how. You can still do those things if you want to be innovative. But I wanted to provide this platform for people to know the exact granular steps to achieve something, not watch a course on a video and try to figure it out afterwards, and not even complete the course. I wanted to give the people exact tasks, integrate it with their calendar, and on Monday, they know exactly what to do to achieve whatever they need to do. Follow the steps, follow the tasks.
Yeah.
And so I love what you're saying. You don't need to know how to do it. It's going to take you longer. You're going to have more stress, money, all that kind of stuff when you don't know how to do it, but you're still going to achieve it. And I've done it over and over again, but now we're changing that. And you're going to have to be a part of Blueprinted too, by the way. So so I love that. And let's make it happen. And whatever we got to do to move obstacles or anything, you just got to just keep going, man. I love it. I support you, and we'll do whatever we got to do to elevate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Where can people get in touch with you? And do you have anything to promote right now?
Yeah. So to get in touch with me, my business Instagram handle is at Female Powerhouse Project. If you'd like to connect with me personally on my personal page, it's just at Noelle Corriveau is the handle. And right now, I think the biggest thing I'm excited about is I've actually stepped into mindset coaching, and I'm launching a few programs. One of them in particular I'm very excited about. It's called Take Back Your Power. And it's for women who have lost their sense of self. They've lost kind of their passion for where they're currently at, and they want to get re-inspired in their life, or maybe make a transition into something new, but they feel, really overwhelmed. They don't know the how, the step-by-step, kind of a little similar to what you're talking about with Blueprinted, and really helping make that transition a lot more seamless and a lot more, shorting that time frame for when that can happen for them. So I love helping people remove their limitations. You are as limited as your ability to see, what's available for you. And again, I mentioned earlier, this programming, this conditioning, if you're 30 years old, 35 years old, you've got 35 years of programming, and you need to unbecome a lot of things that you don't even realize are holding you back. And John Maxwell says something. He says, everything rises and falls on leadership, which is true, but you cannot be a leader or see yourself as that if your mind is not in the right place. So my motto is everything rises and falls on the mind. on your thought perceptions, on your thought patterns, and what you believe to be true for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So if the mind isn't right, it doesn't matter how many strategies or courses you take, none of it's going to stick, because if you don't even believe in what you're doing, right, it's not going to happen, because you're not a vibrational match for it. You have no trust in it. You have no trust in yourself. So you're casting that energy out, and that's reciprocating back to you. And that's a really hard lesson I had to learn and how to coach myself through. And now I want to do the same for others. It's really about creating that self-awareness and learning about yourself and getting real, and having those hard conversations and putting that ego aside and getting over yourself. You got to get over yourself and understand that we're all on this journey of growth. It's never ending. There's no destination to it. And, it's, we don't know what we don't know. Right. So we just have to really humble ourselves and always seek to learn and know more. Wisdom is power. Knowledge is power. And perspectives have, the perspectives I've gained in this journey have shifted everything in how I view the world. And because of that, it has enabled me to create my own business, to be selling out yacht events, to be speaking on stages, to have this confidence and this sense of conviction in who I am and what I bring to the table, because I didn't have any of that before. Right. And this has only been 2.5 years that I've made these changes, maybe a year in all reality. So, if you want to learn more about that, we're launching our website this week. It's going to be, so I'm super excited. I've got everything about who we are on that website that's going to be connected on the page. And I really want to talk to women that are feeling really unfulfilled where they are. They're feeling a little lost, overwhelmed, and they need some direction, and they need to be re-inspired in their life. And they want to be empowered, to understand that they can be, do, and have anything and everything they want. And they just need someone to instill that belief in them and do that by that reprogramming. So, I do want to invite any women that are going to listen to this, that if you're in that place right now, I get it. I've been there, and I want to help you. I want to help you transition out of that place, from that, traditional way of thinking, from that, that old programming. And I really want to help you step into your greatness is really what I want to do.
So if that's you, reach out to Noelle. Let her know you heard her here on the What Are You Made Of show. Noelle, thank you so much for joining us and sharing. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Look forward to helping you with your mission. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Have a good
one.
All
right. You guys have been listening to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy, the unstoppable Mike C-Roc. And I hope you felt Noelle was unstoppable too, because she's pretty passionate. And you guys keep coming back. Subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. And also go to the YouTube channel, Mike C-Roc, and check that out. Blueprinted is on its way. We're working on loading creators right now, and you could be that creator. If you're an expert, if you're a trainer, consultant, you know how to do something, reach out to me on Instagram, DM me, or anywhere, or go to blueprinted.com. That's BLOO printed.com/VIP and become a Blueprinted creator. Until next time, be unstoppable.